I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2022 Market Lamb Show. The judge for this morning is Nick Fowler from Hardin County. He is a 2018 graduate of The Ohio State University and currently works as a corp insurance adjuster in Northwest Ohio. He and his family raised and sold South Downs and Club Lambs. He has judged sheep and goats in 8 different states. Entering the ring is Class 1, Jacob Cade, tag 316, Piper Russell, tag 309, Leighton Fraley, tag 320. Judge, this is your class.
Nice class to start off here in the lightweights. I think the one that wins, I think, comes out and does so really easily. Just in terms of when he walks in, I think just the front end of this one is just better than anything else. And then when you get on top of him, I think just in terms of muscle down the top, first and second are comparable. But I just like the way that the one that wins the class comes out of his shoulder into his rack quite a bit better. He's just better about his chest and his neck. Like I said, the one in second has the muscle to match our class winner. Probably just isn't put together quite as neat. Probably just not as good looking from the side, not as good off those back legs. He's just not quite as wide, quite as square. And the one we're going to round out the class with, I think for a lightweight lamb, this one still does have some muscle, some product down his top. This one just doesn't balance up as well. You watch him as he gets about the ring. He just doesn't set down a square on his feet and legs. Wants to get a little bit rounder at his hip. Just need to see him step off a little bit better. Nice group of lambs. Let's go ahead and give them all a round of applause.
In third place, Piper Russell. In second place, Leighton Fraley. And in first place, Jacob Cade. Now entering the ring, Class 2, Madison Shelton, tag 447, Xander Pancake, tag 452, and Lily Schneider, 318. Class 3 to the holding area. Lambs in this class weigh 106 to 115 pounds.
Another nice group of lambs here. I think there's some give and take between first and second in this pair. There's definitely some positives, some traits you like about both of them a little bit better. I think the one we're going to win with just puts more together, I think, just in terms of balance down that top. And just when you get off and look at this one from the side, I think just holds together a little bit better. I think there's a difference just at the ground in terms of stoutness and bone. I know that the one in first has a lot more leg wool, but if you really look at it, that one is stouter, that one is wider at the ground. I think the one that's in second here, when you really handle this one out over that loin, out over that hip and into the leg, I think this one does have the muscle to match. Probably is just a little bit trimmer, maybe better to the touch, probably a little bit better just in that hip structure. I just don't think has the overall just width and muscle throughout, and the stoutness that we see in the one that's going to win the class. But that's a nice lamb to be second there. Then the one that's in third, I think just from a muscle and a meat standpoint, down through the rack and the loin, it was really nice. It's when you get out over the hip, down into that lower leg. This one just doesn't have the balance, doesn't have the same amount of muscle in that rear third that we see in the front end. Let's go ahead and give all of them a big round of applause.
In third place, Madison Shelton. In second place, Xander Pancake. And in first place, Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring, Class 3, Nathaniel Hackworth, tag 446, Leighton Fraley, tag 463, Xander Pancake, tag 453, and Piper Russell, tag 308. Class 4 to the holding area. The weight for this class ranges from 120 to 125.
I think a really interesting pair of lambs, especially in the top. There's a lot of give and take in these two. I think both of them have a lot of good pieces. I think both of them have some things that you'd like to change. I think the one that just has more mass, more stoutness, more muscle is probably the one in second. But I think the one that puts everything together the best is in first. The one in first here, just obviously you see him walking around the ring. You see him when he's propped up on the side. This one's a lot better through his front 1/3. He's better right out through his rack. I think as we work back into his loin, out over his hip, probably doesn't have quite the expression, quite the squareness and the shape we see of the one here in second. But I think everything on him just blends together better. That one has enough muscle, enough width for me to win this class. The one in second here, really, really stout, really rugged. My problem with him is just whether he's standing still, whether he's walking around the ring, he just doesn't get around as well. Everything's just shorter, everything's rounder, more compact. I just like to put all those muscles into a package that balances better, looks a little bit better for the show ring. But I think that one is a really good terminal market animal. The young lady's doing a really good job showing him. And then as we work down into third place, I think we get the difference between third and fourth here. The one in third just handles a little bit firmer to the touch, just a little bit squarer, trimmer. I think in comparison to the ones ahead of you, you're just not as wide, not as heavy muscled, especially as you work back over the hip, down into the lower leg. The same could be said for the one in fourth. Let's go ahead and give them all a big round of applause.
In fourth place, Nathaniel Hackworth. In third place, Leighton Fraley. In second place, Piper Russell. And in first place, Xander Pancake. Entering the ring, Lily Schneider, tag 317, Isabella Kearns, tag 324, Meredith Rogers, tag 302, and Isabel Pancake, tag 455. The weight ranges from 129 to 133. We'd like to thank our trophy sponsors, David and Kay Payne and family, Wade's Work in Western Wear, Russell Farms, Uriah Cade, Seven Springs Farms, Roger Market Lambs, Scotttown Farmers and Farmerettes, Sarah Cade and family, and Starlight 4-H Club.
Really interesting class here, and I think definitely so far from top to bottom, I think this is the most competitive, the deepest class all the way down through. With that being said, I do think there's a lot of give and take, and I think we're probably hitting just close to the weight, close to the finish on these lambs that you'd want, I guess, in a finished product. And this is where a lot of the good lambs should be. For me, I think there's a lot of give and take between, especially these top three. I think all of them probably have pieces that you could say this one can win the class, and I would be fine with that. For me, I think it's just finding the one that puts everything together the best. I think all these have plenty of muscle. I think these sheep, the way we're breeding them now, I think they have plenty of muscle just in general. And the thing we have to kind of sort out and what makes the sheep that's at the top compared to the sheep that's, down in third and fourth is just how everything is put together, just in terms of balance, in terms of structure, things like that. And none of these are perfect in here, but I think the one that wins is the closest to that. And I think when you get this one set up and stuck, definitely looks the best. When you get him out and go, he probably doesn't transition right there behind his shoulder. He gets just a little bit weak at times, but once you get him propped up, he looks really good. Just in terms of muscle down his top and width, this one does have quite a bit. Like to just stouten him up at the ground compared to the two right behind him as well. Maybe make him a little bit squarer off those back legs just in terms of where his hocks are. But I think he still puts the most together. I think both on the move, standing still, he balances up the best. He's one of the two trimmer, fresher ones within this group. That's one that I think just brings the most to the table to start this class. The one in second here, I think just from the way his front end is put together, he's really, really good. Just up through that shoulder, up through that neck, out through his rack and his loin, he's really good. I think compared to the ones on either side of him, he just doesn't have the hip, doesn't have the lower leg shape. And then the biggest problem with him is when we get him out and move him, just the way that his hock is made is not right. His back legs, I just need to see him be a lot squarer, a lot straighter there. If we could just fix that and just power him up from behind a little bit, I think he wins this class easily because he does just balance up. He's the best just in his structure and his front end. That's a nice lamb that just needs some more to him. Then we get into third, and I think when you get right over top, right in behind this sheep, probably has the most power, has the most muscle, probably is the widest. I think in comparison to the other two, pretty short-bodied. That's just the shortest, most moderate lamb. I think he's the shortest in his front end. He's the shortest necked. He's the biggest in his shoulder. If we could just make him, just stretch him out, lengthen him out, give him a little bit more look, I think that's a really nice lamb that has plenty of terminal shape, plenty of muscle. Then the lamb we're going to round out with, I think, is just a nice lamb. Kind of got into a tougher class here. This one probably just doesn't handle quite as well down the top. Probably just pushing a little bit too much condition on this one. But I really think a lot of good pieces in this one, just a tough class. Let's go ahead and give them all a big round of applause.
In fourth place, Meredith Rogers. In third place, Isabel Pancake. In second place, Isabella Kearns. And in first place, Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring, Class 5, Colt Pancake, tag 451, Meredith Rogers, tag 301, Hannah Leith, tag 314, Jacob Cade, tag 315, and Isabel Pancake, tag 454. The weight ranges from 137 to 139. Judge, this is your class. All first place winners, please report to the holding area.
Really interesting class here once again. I think a lot of pieces and parts, and I think the two sheep that are at the top are just in terms of where they're at and their condition, their finish, are kind of exact opposites of each other. I think the one that's going to win probably has the second most on him in this class, just in terms of condition. He's probably getting pushed past the point where he needs to be, but at the same time, this is the one that kind of fits the mold of everything is acceptable with his structure. When you get in behind him, he's one of the wider, more massive ones within this class. Nothing just extra special about him, but I think everything just balances, comes together the best comparatively within this class. The one that's in second here, this one just in terms of just raw muscle shape and being, I guess, being the trimmest and the leanest at this point, he definitely is the best in that aspect. I think that's also his fault. I think even though this lamb is up at this heavy weight, I think really to get this lamb finished, he probably needs 10 or so more pounds. He needs a little bit more on him. I think that would smooth him out and just bulk him up a little bit compared to these. But when you get in and handle him, he's really wide. He's really massive over the top. He just doesn't quite have as much to him, just in terms of just the extra fat that some of these other ones have. Then we get down to lambs in third and fourth place, and I think these two are pretty similar just in the way they're put together. I'd like to change both of them just in their shoulder, the way they come out off their hip. I think the biggest difference in these two, the one in third, when you get right on top of him, there's just more muscle, there's more width, there's more shape. This young man in fourth, you're doing a really good job showing that sheep. You make it look really good on the profile. When I get in and handle him, there's just not as much to him as everything ahead of you. That's the biggest thing. He's just a little bit softer. He's just a little bit plainer, narrower down his top. We just need more muscle. And then the lamb we're going to start out with, I think, just gets a little bit more moderate, a little shorter bodied. And I think of this class, this one is pushing the most condition. We just need to lean that one up a little bit. I think it would help him. You could go ahead and move up. Let's go ahead and give them all a big round of applause.
In fifth place, Hannah Leaf. In fourth place, Colt Pancake. In third place, Isabel Pancake. In second place, Jacob Cade. In first place, Meredith Rogers. From Class 1 entering the ring, Jacob Cade. From Class 2 entering the ring, Lily Schneider. From Class 3, Xander Pancake. From Class 4, Lily Schneider. And from Class 5, Meredith Rogers.
All right, as we bring these back out here, let's go ahead and give all the exhibitors for the Lamb Show this morning a big round of applause. I think really a nice set of lambs. I know I did the goats last night. And I talked I know some of you guys were probably here. I just talked about just the amount of work and time that it takes to get these sheep looking the way that they need to be. I think all the showmen are doing a good job of just getting these lambs put together. They're well presented. I think everybody should be commended for that. And just know that there's probably a reason why some of these, I guess, the numbers in some of these county fair shows are going down. I know when I started showing, it was 15 plus years ago, I mean, our county fair lamb show had 120 lambs. Now my youngest brother's still showing, and there's only 35 lambs. And I think it's just because everything, I think people don't realize how expensive and how much time and work goes into it. So I think all these kids should be commended for, sticking it out and continuing to do it, because there's a lot of good that comes from it. And there's a lot of work that goes into just doing the project, and there's a lot more work that goes into being out here and being really competitive. So that's all I'm going to talk about that. I am going to talk about these animals just a little bit more, especially the first three out here. I think they all won their classes fairly easily, so I didn't really talk about them a whole lot. I really like this lamb that wins that first class. I talked about just for being a small lamb, a light lamb. There's a lot of shape there. He balances up really well. I think my biggest problem is I don't know, as he gets bigger, how stable he's going to be on those back legs. And when we get out in a group like this, that lamb's he's not market ready. He's not big enough to win a show. But I do think there's a lot of good within that lamb. The one out of the second class, that one's really attractive. That one's really big racked. Is really good, big over that hip. Probably just the stoutest, just in terms of for her size. She's probably the widest at the ground, just the stoutest in the way that she's put together. My big thing for her at this stage is I just don't know if she ties together right in her hip-loin junction. I'd just like to see her smoother there, and part of that will come with some time and some extra fat, but that's just kind of where I stand on that sheep. And then the one from the third class, I think that one is really heavy muscle. There's a lot of muscle there. There's a lot of good to him. I think comparatively to a couple of these others out here, he just gets a little bit shorter fronted, a little bit bigger shouldered, maybe doesn't have just the extra extension, the extra length that we see in the ewe lamb in front of him or the lamb from right behind him there. But within his weight range, I think he won his class fairly easily there. So I just wanted to talk about those three a little bit more, and then I talked these two pretty in depth within their classes, just so you guys kind of know where I stand on these sheep, and then I'll go out and select your champion, and we'll work down from there. But before I get off here, just a big round of applause to everybody running the show, the goat show last night, the lamb show. Everything's been really smooth. You guys do a good job.
Your 2022 Market Lamb Grand Champion is Lily Schneider. Isabella Kearns to the holding area.
No.
In the ring, sorry. Your 2022 Reserve Lamb is Isabella Kearns. In the ring, we need Isabel Pancake, tag 455. Third place overall goes to Lily Schneider. Xander Pancake, tag 452 to the ring, please. Fourth overall is Xander Pancake. Leighton Fraley, tag 463 to the ring, please. Fifth place is Jacob Cade.
Now we need Leighton Fraley, tag 320.
Leighton Fraley, tag 320 to the holding area. Sixth place overall is Meredith Rogers.
We need Jacob Cade.
Jacob Cade, tag 315 to the ring, please. Our Lawrence County born and raised market lamb is Xander Pancake. Seventh place is Jacob Cade.
We need Isabel Pancake.
Isabel Pancake, tag 454 to the ring, please. Eighth place overall is Isabel Pancake.
So we need Meredith Rogers.
Meredith Rogers, tag 302 to the ring, please. Ninth place overall goes to Leighton Fraley. Piper Russell, tag 309 to the ring, please.
Goes to Leighton Fraley.
10th place overall goes to Leighton Fraley.
Now entering the ring, Class 1, Isabel Pancake, Meredith Rogers, and Xander Pancake. Reminder that drop slips are due by noon tomorrow for goats, lambs, and hogs.
Nice class of ewe lambs here. I think between second and third down here, there's some give and take. But the one that wins the class, I think, does so pretty easily. Just a big-bodied, broody ewe. I think has plenty of balance, plenty of look to her. I think if we're being critical on her, maybe just want to fix her on those back legs a little bit. Maybe just pick her up and clean her up in her chest and her front end. But I think there's a lot of good pieces. You go ahead and breed that one. She'll produce. She'll make some good wethers. And then when we get down into second and third place, the one that's in second, probably just a notch longer bodied, a little bit more extended. The one that's in third here, maybe when you get right on top of this one, just has a little bit more shape. Just like to lengthen that one out and just level that one over the hip, give it a little more just shape from right behind. But two nice ewe lambs. Go ahead and give them a round of applause.
In third place, Xander Pancake. Second place, Isabel Pancake. First place, Meredith Rogers. Class 2 entering the ring, Meredith Rogers,
That's okay.
Colt Pancake, Meredith Rogers, and Xander Pancake.
As we get into these yearling ewes, a lot of differences within this class. I think we have 3 sheep that are probably just different in terms of maybe their condition, some differences just in maturity, and some differences in type and kind. The one that's going to start out, she definitely is carrying the most condition in this class, probably carrying a little bit more than ideal. I think if you peel that off just a little bit, she might not be quite as smooth as she looks, but at the same time, when you do get on top of her, get a hold of her, she is as wide, she is as massive as anything in here, even if you pull some of that off. And I think the big advantage she has over the one in second, she's just longer bodied. There's more extension, especially up through just the front end, the front 1/3. That's why she's going to win. The one here in second, really, really massive over that loin, over that hip. This one's just, for her age, she's just too small. She's too moderate. I just need them a little bit bigger, a little bit more extended. But I think if you breed her to a buck, you know, that's a little longer bodied, give her a little bit more grow. I think there's definitely a lot of muscle, a lot of good pieces to make some lambs. And then the one that's in third is kind of the opposite. This one, she needs a little bit more to her, but she does have a better front end. She does have better extension. Just needs a little more stoutness, a little more muscle. Let's go ahead and give all of them a big round of applause.
In third place, Xander Pancake. Second place, Colt Pancake. First place, Meredith Rogers. Now entering the ring, Class 3, Isabel Pancake.
Only a single entry here in the older U class, but one that you like a lot of things about. I think she's level down her top. She handles pretty good. For being a brood U, she's in really good condition, structurally pretty sound. Nice single entry. Let's go ahead and give her a round of applause.
Class 3, first place, Isabel Pancake.
Overall grand champion breeding you.
Now entering the ring from Class 1, Meredith Rogers. From Class 2, Meredith Rogers. Class 3, Isabel Pancake. Our grand champion breeding you goes to Meredith Rogers. We need Isabel Pancake to the ring. Senior showman, please report to the makeup area. And reserve breeding you is Meredith Rogers.
We would like to take the time to welcome our judge today. His name is Nick Fowler from Hardin County. He is a 2018 graduate of The Ohio State University and currently works as a crop insurance adjuster in Northwest Ohio. He and his family raise and sell South Downs and club lambs. He has judged sheep and goats in 8 different states. Please join me in welcoming Nick Fowler. Now entering the ring for Class 1 of Showmanship, Isabella Pancake, Jacob Cade, Hannah Leaf, Willie Schneider, Madison Shelton, Colt Pancake, and Isabella Kearns.
Let's go ahead and give a big round of applause for all these senior showmanship. I think a good group all the way down through, and once you get to the older kids, that's the way it should be. And I took a little bit extra time on those last 3, and then there's the last 5 there, because I think there's actually pretty small differences between 1st and 5th within this group, and really it just comes down to a little bit of efficiency and just how you get the front end of that sheep put together, and then just intensity. You pretty much can go from 1st down to 5th, and that's the difference. The girl in 1st does the best job, holding the head, getting the front end of that sheep put together, and from there on, that's pretty much what placed 1 through 5. I think the two young men here, you guys do a good job at times. I think compared to the young ladies, you get a little bit relaxed. The longer we stand over there, you kind of just, you two get to where you kind of just stand and stop showing. And they kept the intensity and they kept up the showing. I think that these lambs, they've been out here for a little while. A lot of them aren't wanting to always stand still. So some of these sheep are moving around, maybe aren't always set perfectly. But I think if you want to see just how to kind of show the front end of a sheep and just how to get one bracing and get one looking good, you can start at the top and kind of work your way down through this group. That's really what splits them today, because I think all the way down through, everybody knows the basics of what they want to get done. Let's give them a big round of applause once again.
Now entering the ring for Class 2 Junior Showman, Nathaniel Hathwork, Xander Pancake, Meredith Rogers, Piper Russell, and Leighton Fraley. Results for Senior Showman: in 7th place, Madison Shelton; in 6th place, Hannah Leaf; in 5th place, Colt Pancake; in 4th place, Jacob Cade; in 3rd place, Isabella Pancake; in 2nd place, Isabella Kearns; and your Senior Showman of Showman is Lily Schneider. We would like to thank our trophy sponsors for the show one more time: David and Kay Payne and family, Wade's Work and Western Wear, Russell Farms, Uriah Cade, Seven Springs Farms, Roger Market Lambs, Scotttown Farmer and Farmerettes, Sarah Cade and family, Starlight 4-H Club.
Nice group of showmanship here. I think when you get into the junior division, there's a lot of differences in age and just maturity and size, and it's definitely a little bit easier for some of them out here just because they're bigger to be able to get things done the way that they want to. I think the top two here are pretty different just in the way that they do things. I like certain things about each of them better. I'd like to change a couple things about each of them. I think the young man, for me, just gets better looks on that sheep. Your sheep just looks better more of the time, and that's kind of what separates these top two. Sometimes you get him a little bit over bracing. Like right now, he's pushing too hard. His front end isn't exactly the way it needs to be. And sometimes you get just a little bit fast. You just get in front and you just start pushing really, really hard. If you can just slow down and be a little bit calmer and have a little bit more finesse, I think it will help you. And kind of the opposite for the young lady in second. I think you are just a little bit smoother. You do the best job just moving around the front end of that sheep, showing the front, and you get a pretty good brace out of that sheep. I think for me, the young man just had his sheep set more of the time. Sometimes you got that sheep just a little bit short coupled, and you didn't quite notice it quite as quick as he did. If you just get a little bit more out of him, just stretch him a little bit more at times, I think that would help you. Maybe you could just speed up and have a little bit more intensity as compared to the young man. Then we get to the young lady in third. I told her she does a really good job. She's just smaller and younger than those first two, and she just can't do things as quick. There was that first time we went over there and set up, you got your lamb looking as good as anybody, but when we walked them around, you just couldn't get it done as fast as they could. That's kind of why you get down into third, but you keep working, you'll be a good showman. Then I talked to the two young people that are going to be at the bottom of this class just about some things that they can work on to get better. Let's give them all a round of applause. They do a good job.
Results from junior showmen. In 5th place, Piper Russell. In 4th place, Nathaniel Hackworth. In 3rd place, Leighton Fraley. In 2nd place, Meredith Rogers. And your junior showman is Xander Pancake. This concludes our show. Thanks for coming.